What exactly did Bang Si Hyuk say that made Jungkook and Jimin stay away? Why is it that when the whole world is waiting for BTS's reunion, a new wound appears in ARMY's heart? Dan, is Taehyung really the reason behind Jimin's silence? This new fact is not only surprising, it shakes. No one expected that the moment that should have been a joyful wait for the ARMY turned into a source of grief and questions without answers. Jungkook is rumored to be ending his military service soon, and this should be encouraging news. However, some feel unnatural. There is emptiness. There is a painful silence, especially from one person, Jimin. Why didn't Jim say anything? Why did he, who had been known to be so warm and supportive of Jungkook, now seem to be moving away? More surprisingly, when he finally spoke, his speech was painful, not only for Jungkook, but also for the millions of soldiers who are waiting with love and hope. Did I ask this just a momentary misunderstanding? Or is there really something deeper, darker, that has been hidden all this time? Things start to get even more confusing when rumors emerge that Taehyung is now too close to Jungkook. The closeness is not only seen in a brief interaction, but as formed with a deliberate pattern. And when someone asks, where is Jimin in all this? No one can answer for sure. But one sentence, a leaked excerpt from a closed-door meeting between Bang Si Hyuk and the HYB officials, began to cloud the atmosphere. The sentence reads, Jungkook must stand alone and others have to learn to adjust. At first glance, it may sound like an ordinary professional directive. But for those who know BTS, especially the dynamic between Jimin and Jungkook, that sentence holds an invisible poison. Does this mean Bang Si Hyuk separated them intentionally? Why is it that when Jimin chooses to be silent, Taehyung instead goes deeper into Jungkook's side? And what is even more surprising, what exactly made Jungkook cry secretly on his birthday in a military camp after receiving a letter that, according to an inside source, was not from the army, not from his family, but from someone he missed so much, and at the same time disappointed him? A leaked snippet of a dance rehearsal video shows an awkward moment between Jimin and Jungkook before enlistment. Their movements are not aligned. Their eyes did not meet. Even the staff behind the camera could be seen glancing at each other, as if they could also feel the intense tension between these two old friends, and the painful question is now unavoidable. Has Jimin and Jungkook's friendship really cracked? Are there any deeper wounds that have never been told to the public? And did it all start with one cold decision, a business strategy that doesn't see tears as a price to pay? We have gained access to HYB's internal memos showing major changes in BTS members' individual promotion scheduling after discharge from the military. In the memo, there are only two names that deserve special attention and a special schedule. Jungkook and Taehyung. Jimin's name, not even called, and instantly clues started popping up. Jimin's attitude lately has been increasingly closed. His choice of words in that interview sounded sarcastic. His posts on social media were ambiguous, but implied a sense of loss and betrayal. One of them even stated, sometimes silence does not mean agreeing, but tired of explaining. Is this addressed to the army? Or to Jungkook? Or is it precisely to HYB that has placed her in the shadow of a friendship that is cracked and a cornering media spotlight? One reliable source who has worked directly with BTS creative team gave a shocking testimony. There was a big change after Taehyung and Jungkook started a lot of projects together. Jimin looked uncomfortable. He once asked for time off from a rehearsal schedule, citing not being emotionally focused. We've never seen him like that before.
But why?
Aren't Taehyung, Jimin, and Jungkook known as an inseparable trio in fandom? Is the closeness that looks beautiful on the screen just a falsehood imposed by the script and the camera? Back to Bang Si Hyuk's shaking words. Jungkook has to stand up for himself and others, have to learn to adjust. Was the sentence actually not addressed to the public, but to Jimin directly? Did Bang Si Hyuk subtly tell her to get out of the way? And is that the reason why Jimin is now behaving as if he doesn't care? There is one more fact that makes this heartbeat faster. A voice recording from the rehearsal room, in which a short debate between two young male voices is heard. One of the voices clearly said, "If you already have someone else by your side, Why ask me to pretend that everything is fine? And the other voice replied with pressure, "You stay away, not me." There has been no official confirmation whether the voice belongs to Jimin and Jungkook. But to the army who had followed them for years, that tone of voice was familiar. Too familiar. Too painful. Now, the public began to ask, if there really was an emotional conflict between them, who was the victim? And more importantly, who is to blame? Did Bang Si Hyuk, with all his influence and management strategies unknowingly or intentionally, have two hearts broken for each other? Has Taeil, out of goodwill or ignorance, gotten into the most fragile space in Jimin and Jungkook's relationship? And one last question that now resonates throughout fandom, is this the beginning of the end for their friendship? Or is it just a dark chapter before a brighter light comes? Jimin has always been an empathetic figure, someone who could cry just from seeing his best friend hurt. But this time, it wasn't just her tears that were absent. The warmth vanished like it never had. As fans from around the world gathered on social media to welcome the news of Jungkook's return from military service, one question became even more pressing. Why didn't Jimin say anything? Hashtags such as hashtag welcome back Jungkook and hashtag waiting for UJK dominate global trending topics. ARMY prepares to hold online and offline events from Korea to Brazil. But when everyone was waiting for one simple sentence from Jimin, there was no sound, no posts, not a single emoji. And when he finally showed up, not to greet Jungkook, but through a short and cold live broadcast, what he said was precisely a line that touched the bottom of ARMY's heart coldly. Sometimes, people don't need a welcome. They just need silence. The sentence immediately became the center of controversy. Is that an allusion to Jungkook? Or is it precisely for the ARMY that constantly demands a statement? Comments flooded the live broadcast. What happened, Jimin? Why are you saying that when Jungkook is coming back? Who are you angry with? But there was no answer. And when Taeil uploaded a photo with Jungkook with a short caption, "It's about time," more and more fans wondered, does Jimin feel replaced? People are beginning to recall little moments that now look awkward in the news spotlight. Like a behind-the-scenes video of Jimin sitting alone in a corner of the studio, while Taeil and Jungkook joke around just a few feet away. Or during the last fan meeting before enlistment, when Jimin was seen looking down for most of the event, and Jungkook just threw a momentary glance at him without saying a word. It all feels like a puzzle piece when it's too late. One former BTS staffer, who asked to remain anonymous, said the astonishing thing. Bang PD knows the dynamics of the three are very fragile. But he believes in one thing, that Jungkook is the future of BTS. All long-term projects are directed at him. And when someone feels left out, yes, it is considered a professional risk. Is Jimin one of those risks? And are Bang Si Hyuk's words, which are now at the center of this whirlpool of storms, delivered in a more personal context than we think? The sentence is not just about business strategy. The sentence, if properly aimed at Jimin, carries the weight of emotional exile. A sentence that not only tells you to adjust, but seems to say, just accept that you are no longer the center of the story. After this news spread, the ARMY community began to split. Some defended Jimin, saying he had the right to feel hurt if he felt ignored. Others supported Jungkook, who was judged not to have done anything wrong and only lived his role as an artist who continued to shine. And some began to blame HYB for all the silence that further muddied the atmosphere. But in the midst of this chaos, there is one shocking incident that has not been widely publicized. An internal email from one of HYB's creative directors leaked to ARMY Korea's private forum. The plan was to separate individual promotional focuses to avoid emotional overlaps that could trigger personnel instability. Emotional overlap? Strange term. But not if we remember the emotional connection between Jimin and Jungkook that was so strong since the trainee days. Did HYB mean to separate them to avoid conflict? Or has the company realized that their relationship has turned into something unstable? And while the public was wondering, someone from the Korean entertainment media spread rumors that Jimin was close to canceling his participation in a solo project that was scheduled to coincide with Jungkook's return. The reason? Instability of the mental state. But the management quickly covered up and rewrote the shooting schedule so as not to be too conspicuous. But unfortunately, other events only confirmed these rumors. A few days after the news of Jungkook's return spread, a fan site's Master Jimin posted a long message of sadness. Among them are written, "He looks like someone who has just lost the most important part of himself, but tries to hide it with a smile that we know, not his." This sentence is cutting, and remind us again that behind the sheeny. This question began to arise after a former editor of the documentary Break the Silence, who had worked with HYBE, leaked one surprising fact in the closed community of the industry. Some of the dynamics between the members are deliberately not shown in the documentary series, including Jimin's frustrated expression when talking about BTS's direction going forward and the management decisions that continue to push the spotlight onto Jungkook. In the off-record note, it is written that Jimin once said this phrase, which now feels so tearing. "I feel like a spectator in my own group's life story." That phrase is unheard of on screen. It's never been posted on Instagram. But he echoed, getting louder each time fans realized how Jimin was slowly retreating backstage emotionally. When Jungkook announced his solo project before enlistment, which was touted as the era of global domination by HYB, fans thought all the members were supportive. But there is one thing that now feels strange when viewed again. Jimin just reshared the announcement without a caption, without emoji, and without speech. Is it a form of silent support, or an early sign of the tenacity of the threads of togetherness? And just a week before Jungkook is rumored to be completing his mandatory military service ahead of schedule, a leaked transcript of HYB's internal meeting from production division staff surfaced. In the document referred to as the Reintegration Strategy Plan, Jungkook's name is mentioned 14 times. Name Taehyung 8 times. But Jimin's name? Only once, in the context of the opening choreography of the concert. It's not just numbers. It reflects something deeper, abandonment. But what makes all this even more painful and confusing is a new fact. Bang Si Hyuk's phrase at the center of this emotional outburst was actually said not once, but twice. The first, in the creative meeting room. The second, and this makes the hair stand on end, in a private session with Jimin, according to an unnamed source from one of HYB's senior vocal coaches. Bang Si Hyuk called Jimin personally after seeing his expression during the last demo recording. And in that studio room, which was filled with only 2 people, the founder said, "You have to know when it's time to stand back and when it's time to stop." No harsh words, no high notes. But the meaning? It pierces like a fine thorn that is not visible but leaves a deep scar. And shortly after that, Jimin began to change. He is more silent, less live, and when he appears, his expression is not angry. It is empty. The army knows that. There is even a fan art made with the title "Jimin is missing," not because he is gone, but because he is no longer called. Meanwhile, Taehyung and Jungkook's closeness becomes more apparent. They performed in voice broadcasts, played games together, and were even caught on camera at night training gyms, things Jungkook and Jimin used to do. But now, it's like there's an invisible line separating us. Is it because love is changing? A friendship that changes direction? Or business decisions that are too cold? Another question was raised. Did Taehyung deliberately replace Jimin's position by Jungkook's side? Or is Jungkook himself slowly changing direction? This is reinforced by a video recording that went viral a few days ago, a short snapshot from the rehearsal room, which was apparently deliberately uploaded by the staff without censorship. In the video, Jimin walks into the rehearsal room and finds Taehyung and Jungkook laughing together. He was silent for a moment, then turned outside without a word. The clip has now been removed. But the digital trail can't be silenced. And in the comments from the army, one sentence kept repeating, "Jim doesn't have to say anything." We could feel everything from his gaze. Emotions peaked when Taehyung then posted a photo of dinner with Jungkook with a short but meaningful caption. "Some things feel right when they're not planned." Is that a coincidence? Or the veiled message that their closeness is something natural and not something to be explained? Jimin is not in the picture. Not in the dining table, not in the memory they want to perpetuate. He was only on the other side of the screen crying quietly when